Hull and behavior theory. Clark Hull, born on 1884, psychologist, claimed learning and motivation, scientific laws of pre. Hull is known for its with Coleman, right theory. His most significant work were mathematico-deductive theory learning 1940 and the principle of behavior in 1943. Hull's model is explained in biological terms. How? The organisms suffer from deprivation is hunger. Deprivation creates need. Hunger creates food. Food is required when we feel hungry. Needs activate drive. This need for food activates drive. This becomes driving force. Hunger becomes a driving force. Some work. Drives activates behavior. Drives changes of behavior. We become ready to work for anything for the food. Achieving the goal has survival value. Then, when we work hard, we get the food. For example, if it's an animal, it searches for the food. He wanders here and there. Where it gets the food, it eats. After eating it, which goal is achieved here is every day we eat food, every day we become hungry. This is this will satisfy the survival goal. We have to survive. We survive on the food. So Clark Hull discovered his interest in learning theories from Pavlov, Watson, Thorndike. All these people introduced the stimulus and response theory. In this, Hull added strength of habit to this, and he introduced only stimuli response. There is one more point is considered characteristics to be considered in behavior of the organism. He dedicated much of his own laboratory work to home theory. A lot of his students, influenced by his lectures, they started working under him in laboratory, and this gives theory. While interested in the work of Watson, he was not entirely convinced. After listening to the lectures by the Gestalt psychologist Kurt Kafta, he began to work towards the neo-behaviorism. He wanted to give his own theory on the behaviorism, so he started to understand. His goal was to determine the law of behavior and how they can be used to determine future behavior. The machine, so that quantitatively he want to measure the result that is behavior of the. So he conducted experiments. So, depending on one more point here to add on the health theory is the subject here. Okay, in previous we have seen Coleman, Watson, all these is used rat, cat, pigeon, dog. These are all the subjects. But the first time Hull used the human being, observe the behavior. He observed the behaviors of the human being to give his perfect theory. What are the principles of behavior he developed following? In mathematical formula, he gave his theory. Uh, ESR. ESR is excitatory potential equal to SHR. Here is the habit strength. HR is a habit. What is habit? Derived from the previous conditioning trials. Doing the same thing again and again, habit becomes a strength. Okay, that is a habit strength. Then is the D is a drive strength. Drive. How much hungry you are. You are too hungry from 8 hours you didn't eat, or suppose for 3 days you didn't eat anything, then your drive force, drive strength is more determined to work to get the food. That is hours of the deprivation of the or a water. If you don't drink 8 hours of water, then you'll be more thirsty than if for 10 minutes back if you drink water. You need water, still you need water, but the a time of deprivation is the lack of food. water for a long time becomes a drive strength. V is a stimulus in dynamism. Some stimuli will have greater influence as a like this K is an incentive, the reward. Your reward is a food. After working hard, you get a food as a reward. How appealing the result. Some more points he added to formula. Um, that is, variety of the other factors gradually added to the formula to account for this by the function. The formula become E, E SER is equal to V into D into K into J into SHR, that is the habit strength, minus IR minus SIR minus SOR minus SIR. How? Such IR is a reactive inhibition caused by the continual performance repeats over time. If we give a new toy to the child, it is very interesting in playing with that toy. As the day passes, the importance of that toy and crave of playing with that toy dissipates. Time goes, how many times it plays with the toy will be dissipated. That point is to be considered. Yes, IR is conditioned inhibition. Inhibition caused by the continual performance of the not dissipate over time. Some things will not dissipate by continually doing the same thing. It is not a lock like toy. Suppose food. If we like a certain type of a food and we become hungry every day. Sugar is there, organism cannot be dissipated. After 3 hours, again you feel hungry, again you need a food. It is cannot be dissipate over a time. Continuously it is needed. This a conditioned inhibition is also a point to be considered while reaction threshold. Reaction, the smallest amount of reinforcement produce the learning. Small hunger, crave for learning, that is also considered. While we are observing this told by him. Hull developed a version of behaviorism in which stimulus affects the organism and resulting response depends on characteristics of both the stimulus and the characteristics of organism. Characteristics of organism is additional point in Hull's theory, rather used other theories like Skinner and the theorist use the stimulus and response. They explain like this. Hull considered characteristics also depends. In other words, Hull was interested in studying variables that affected behavior such as initial drive, hunger, incentives. Incentives we are driving towards what we get as a result. Inhibitors, that is the habits, and the pure training. What training? That is the habit strength. Strength of the habit. Again and again doing the same thing, we get a strength where we can become expert in that. Like other forms of behavior theory, reinforcement, the primary factor that uh, determines the learning. Reinforcement, positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement. You get a reward, then you repeat that behavior. If you get punished for that behavior, then you reduce that behavior. However, in Hull theory, drive reduction or need satisfaction is a much behavior than in the other frameworks like connection operant condition. Your stimuli not only not is drive reduction he called word, but drive reduction means need satisfaction. Once you are satisfied your need, then that drive force reduced. Okay, have a branded dress. Once you buy it and wear it, and buying the same brand again, it has not much driving. It will not become driving force for you. Again, next time it will be reduced. That is the link. Driving force will be reduced a second time if you are buying a first car. Even it may be a lowest price car, say the Maruti 800 you will be more happy while sitting into the driving. But after at the age of 6, While retiring, if you buy a higher end car, that will not give much happiness as this first car gave you, because that you are satisfied at that time by driving. First time you're driving, first time you have car in your hand, that driving force is different. That happiness is different. After that, you change, keep on changing the cars and buy the new car, higher end car also you buy. Then that for driving force not there as when for young and first buying the car. That he is saying that the driving force is reducing. He is explaining. Hull's theoretical framework consisted of many postulates stated in mathematical form, as in the formula. Organisms possess a hierarchy of needs. First step is a food, okay, then clothes, then the shelter. If we have stomach full of food every day, then what we do? We go for a clothes, okay, to keep the body warm. Then we go for shelter. One more step. If it is satisfied, next need. Yes, he's telling as the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. He's also telling that need is a stepwise, which is aroused under conditions of stimulation and habit strength is stressing this. Habit strength is the main point to be considered in Hull's theory, which increases with the activities that are associated with primary and secondary reinforcement. Habit strength aroused by this stimulus arouses the habit on repeating the same thing from the stimulus. They used to do the same every day. They or just experiencing that task. Suppose, for example, let us take example to this here. What's the was experimentation, organization, learning that habit. The habit was argued where associations between stimulus and habit is also involved. Behaviors were influenced by the goals that sought to satisfy primary as hunger, thirst, avoidance of the pain. Okay? Is systematic behavior theory, also known as drive theory. One of the reinforcement theory, which means that learning habits are initially formed by reinforcement of response to behavior supplies an effect that satisfies the need. In other words, this satisfaction of the need helps create habit behavior. Satisfaction, the hunger satisfaction by having food. Specifically, Hull theory posits that the behaviors that satisfy needs, later described by the Hull as cravings rather than need. Craving, craving for food, craving for knowledge, leads you to learn. Then reduce these cravings. When you are satisfied with the knowledge, then the craving for that knowledge will be reduced. He's telling all this concept is drive reduction or drive stimulus reduction. Once you are satisfied with knowledge, then learning and search for that subject will be, for example, the experiment contains a 6-year-old girl who is hungry and wants a candy. Children like candies. Is told that there is a candy hidden under the one of the bookcase. Girl begins to pull out the book at random until she finally finds the correct book. First time she took 200. She is sent out of the room and the new piece of the candy, the same book. In the next search, she is much more directed and finds the candy in 86 seconds. It becomes a ninth repetition of this exercise. The girls find the candy in 2 seconds. This is the habit strength. She is repeating the same thing. Here, driving for the candy here, and habit also be considered here because she is going and finding the candy every time under the same book. So from the ninth time, the time will be reduced within a 2 seconds. We go to the book and find under the same book the candy. The girl exhibited the drive for candy, and looking under the books represented her activity and responses to reduce this drive. When she eventually found the correct book, this particular response was rewarded, forming a habit. Her habit. She worked from day one, searching for the candy in the same way, and time is reduced. This is on subsequent trials, the strength of this habit increased until it becomes still stimulus response. This is very told by Hall.